Hey guys, Daniel from Quantum Blast here. Just going to do a quick run through of the SD120 and the names of basically all the features that we speak about when we talk to you on the phone, just to help make things a little bit easier for you. So this is the automatic air bleed valve. Basically the operation of how it works is as the pot fills up with water, you'll hear a hiss come from the top of the valve. Once it's full of water, a plunger will close and the noise will stop. What you'll get from there is pot pressure will start to build on the tank. So the pot pressure gauge and pot pressure regulator will control how much pressure is inside the pot before you start blasting. Ideally, for perfect blasting conditions, you want it between 100 and 140 psi before you pull the blast trigger. Simply controlled by pulling out the pot pressure regulator and just winding it up. The needle will come around and stop somewhere between 100 and 140 psi. Now it's important that you read the pot pressure when you're off the trigger. So once you come on, what it'll do is the needle will come back and match whatever your blast pressure is. Next is the blast pressure regulator. Now obviously that'll read 0 until you pull the dead man trigger itself. Now each application is going to have a varying pressure of where your blast pressure needs to be. So the SD120 will blast on a 185 compressor anywhere between 30 psi and about 95 psi. To give you an idea, to blast a standard car, you're going to want to be around the 50 to 60 psi. And to adjust that, same again, just pull out your blast pressure regulator, wind up, bring up the pressure, wind it down, bring the pressure down. So basically we've got your blast hose. So we take the coupling end and obviously match it with the box. Simple as pushing in, twisting. Now if we have a look over here, you've got your dead man lines. Now on SD120, the dead man line's non-directional, so there's no in and out, don't have to be in any specific order. So plug the lines in. It's easy as that. Now to remove them, you push the dead man line in, push the ring in, and pull it out. In, ring in, out. Now probably one of the most important valves on the whole pot is the abrasive valve. It controls everything from when you're filling up the pot, it'll give you pot pressure, to how much abrasive you use whilst blasting. So when you're filling the pot up with water, it's important that you keep the abrasive valve all the way open. It's the quickest way to fill the pot and the quickest way to build pot pressure. So once it's finished and your pot pressure is built, you close the abrasive valve off again, all the way. And depending on what your blast pressure is, we recommend you open up between quarter and half a turn for maximum, for optimal blasting. So at that quarter to half a turn, it's good for anywhere between 50 to 60 psi. As your blast pressure comes up, it's important that you open up the abrasive valve quarter turn at a time. Once that's right, it'll give you a nice, smooth, even flow. The good thing about this abrasive valve is that it allows complete adjustability depending on what media you're using. So obviously garnet's going to flow differently to soda, to glass will flow differently again. So with this abrasive valve, it's the standard as mentioned, quarter turn for garnet. But when it comes to soda or glass, it might be different to get the exact smooth flow. So it's just adjust it quarter turn at a time. Now, water valve's probably the least used valve on the machine. It's simply there for extremely hot days or extremely windy days where you want to add a little bit more water to your mix. And even in that case, all you do is crack it. Just bring it and then bring it back to almost as close. And that'll give you enough water to further dilute your mixture. Now it's important when you're filling the pot that you keep the machine in blast mode. What that'll do is it'll allow the water to flow through your abrasive valve. And then obviously whilst blasting, once again it stays in blast mode. Once you've finished blasting and you want to wash down, it's as simple as pulling it over to wash mode. What that'll do is bypass all the sand inside the pot and just give you fresh water. If you're using a rust inhibitor, it'll still give you your inhibited water, so it's an important feature. It's also important at the end of your cycle to run wash mode, because what that'll do is clean out your hose and your diaphragm valve and give you longer life. Okay, down here we've got the ball valve for our slurry hose. Whilst it's in the closed position and the pot's building pressure, there's no slurry that'll be coming up into your diaphragm. It's important that whilst the machine's not in operation, this remains in the closed position. Once you're ready to blast, it's as simple as pulling it down into open position before you pull the trigger. So this valve, you'll hear us refer to as either a dump valve or a safety valve. Basically what it does is it will allow you to release the pressure from the vessel, any pot pressure. So there's a little bit of water in the tank at the moment, so it's as simple as pulling it down, and it'll release water and any pressure that's inside the pot. Also has at the top of it a brass pressure relief valve. Now this valve's rated to 140 psi. So if your pot pressure goes over that, you will notice that it'll dribble water or shoot water out of these holes. If it does ever leak, just give it a little rattle with your ring on the top. So this is our Fake-On 2-to-1 pressure pump, and what that does is takes your mains pressure or your tank pressure and basically doubles it to what's going inside your vessel. On it we've got another pressure relief valve and an oil lubricator. So with the lubricator, just keep it set to a minimum. Sometimes you will notice that we'll shoot a little bit of oil out here, but there's nothing to worry about, it's just lubricant. So all SD120s are fitted with the e-stop feature. Simple as pushing it down, will cut all the air to the unit. What it won't do is cut your compressor off, so you have to switch that off manually, but it will switch off all your dead man lines, so effectively you'll stop blasting. If it is closed, turn it, put it back up. So this is the tap for your filler hose. It's important that the unit's in blast mode for this to operate, and once it is, as simple as opening it up. Close it off when you're done. Now on the other side of the box you've got your dead man regulator. Now these will come preset from factory, but if you end up running more than 20 metres or 40 metres of hose, you may have to adjust this. So as simple, once again, pull it out, turn it, and it'll increase the pressure in your dead man lines. So from factory, your dead man regulator will be set at 0.4 MPa, which is 60 psi. Now, as you run more than 40 metres of blast hose, you will get a pressure loss through your dead man lines. So it is important that you come back and check that it is showing that 0.4 there. Okay, so this mini regulator also comes preset from factory. We preset it at 0.4 MPa or 60 psi. What that does is control your black diaphragm valve. Now it's important that it remains at that 0.4 or 60 psi, because anything above that, if it can go as high as 80 psi or 0.55 MPa, will actually damage your diaphragm valve. So I hope that gives you a better understanding of the valve operations on the SD120. Once again, if you've got any questions, feel free to give us a call or simply refer to your owner's manual.